Hello and welcome to episode 5 of our Timberborn Update 7 Emberpelts playthrough here. Cycle 8, day 14. We got less than a day left until a drought comes to town, so let's hit pause and do a quick check over of all of our floodgates and sluices, because we've had some issues with that in the past, and I don't want it to happen again. So let's start where everything comes in, which is, of course, up here. Since the last time we've had a drought or a bad tide, we have added some additional stuff here, and we currently have sluices here that are automated, set to close above contamination, that are going to let all of this through here. This set of sluices here closes when water is clean and opens when it is dirty. Both of those set exactly the same. So our clean water comes through here and goes through this set of double floodgates. This is set when the drought starts to go all the way up to 2. And when the drought ends, it goes all the way down to 0. When the bad tide starts, it goes up to 2. And when the bad tide ends, it doesn't change anything because we want time for things to clear. But some of you guys pointed out that this may actually not be doing us any favors because of how low this is set, allowing things to escape. So our goal is to get the water level higher than it currently is. And right now it's about halfway up this block. We also have right here this sluice that is set to always let perfectly clean water in. It's not set to always open, like I think maybe one or two of you thought in the comments. It is set to automatic, close above contamination of 0%. So since this is clean, this is fine. If this was a bad tide, this would shut immediately, and that is just what it does. But here, this comes through this way, and then this goes up. We really don't need this second set of floodgates here. This is just the way that it was because that's what we built first. But same kind of story here. I don't know that raising this is going to solve any problems except for to keep things in place when a drought occurs. But when the drought starts, this goes up to 2 anyway. So I don't think we need to mess with that. Moving on. Water comes in through here. This is a complete wall right here. This is a levee. I know there's something on top of it, so it's kind of hard to see, but that is a levee. There is no opening around this, so that's fine. We probably should put a regular sluice in here. Obviously not right now, because we're about to have a drought. But that would help clean things out and fill them up a little bit quicker. So then water comes through here, and it can exit right here. Now, our current water level, like I said, is about half. This is set to 0.75. So nothing is exiting here. It never has, as long as this has been here. Then we have this area down here, which I'm going to peel this back. This goes at this level. It has this little wall here. It goes down underneath that, and then it gets to here. This is a floodgate that is set all the way up. It has no other automations. And when we put this up, we can see that this is blocked off. There is no way for water to get in or out of here. This is completely closed. I saw at least one person postulating that that could have been the problem. It is not. This is completely closed, and it has been. It will not change. So that's not our issue. It seems most likely, based on having this peeled back, it's just an issue of this is only half a block tall, and it's a lot of evaporation. There's nowhere else for water to go. There is absolutely nowhere else for it to go. Even if you peel this back here, there's nowhere else for that to go. There is nothing below this. Go up one more level. This is fine as it is. Nowhere for water to go. Even right here. Nowhere for water to go. The only reason this is showing like this is because we have this overhang here. And keep in mind, even though this may be open under here, this is going to be completely shut. And there's nowhere, I repeat, nowhere for water to go from here. So yes, this is a problem for this little bit here, but it is not a problem for this little bit here. This is completely shut off. That being said, this is a good time for us to actually fill this in. So all we have to do here is just get something right there and right there. Just regular square levees. Nice and simple. We'll keep that all filled in. And getting beavers over here might be a little bit annoying because of how this is set up. Pay no attention to there being a gap here. That's because I used the 2 block tall levees. So yes, while I do see you guys in the comments that have said, hey, you got a thing here, it really doesn't matter long term. One, because this is completely closed in, and there is no way around it. Even this little bit right here. This is completely closed in. There's nothing, no way around it. And this is completely closed in. So while I am going to eventually remove this, the water doesn't have anywhere else to go. I do appreciate you guys looking out, though. Just bear in mind, everything working together is going to make that not really matter quite so much. So, for them to build this, which, again, might not really be that important, but we're going to do it anyway, we will have to have a way for them to get up and over. Right here. We got to do our path with railings here and here. That'll take care of that. And that should, at the very least, help solve some of our water problems, even if it's not a huge deal right away. The bigger deal is, where does the rest of this water go? Now, if we turn this back on, we've already established the clean water comes out through here and comes in this way and either goes through here or now seems to be going kind of this way. If we go triple speed, it is going that way. So if we peel this back again, just a couple of layers, you can now see, if I turn this back on, this is a little bit of a path of resistance here because we've created these walls and we have this depth we're trying to maintain. So it's all going to go this way. This means that, yes, eventually we're going to have a big dam probably across here that is going to force stuff over here. So for right now, this is probably fine. Just want to make sure we're all, you know, on the same page. This is a very complicated map in terms of, you know, how the fluid is flowing. We just need to make sure that we're not being unnecessarily complicated with how we approach things. So that leads us pretty nicely to the next thing I think is appropriate for us to discuss, which is utilizing these diagonal levees. I've been told that there are two types of these. I don't understand half the stuff people say about this, and it's not your fault, it's my fault, but this is a diagonal levee. We have an internal corner levee, which is not the same thing as a diagonal levee. And we have these internal slopes, levee slopes, whatever. And aqueducts are a different type of thing entirely. I have not researched this, and I don't want to spend my science. But this is made of metal. I don't see a separate type of you know, diagonal levee, so I'm not entirely sure what you guys are saying with that. So yeah, just, I know it's probably not going to make any sense, and at least one of you is going to say, well, I don't know how you don't understand this. Well, show me where it is, because I don't see anything else. This is the only diagonal we have right there. So as long as we're the understanding that I've exhausted all of my options here, we can move forward with that. So until we have some sort of other clarity on that, we'll just move on. We have all of our farm space here that we are working to slowly expand, move things around. We've talked about what we're going to do with all of the housing. Saw at least one person say we should move the district center to be a little bit closer. That'll give us some more plantable space. And I do think that would be a smart idea. I'm going to go ahead and move it maybe up here-ish, just to keep it a little bit out of the way. We can always, you know, move it basically anywhere we want, right? So if I go ahead and I take that path out, then I put district center here, then I can remove that, then I can put the path with the railing, that is the wooden path with the railing, right back there. Let's rename this to the correct Beaverburg, which is 29. Then that'll, you know, cause a little bit of beaver chaos while everything gets readjusted. But that'll eventually get caught up. And there we go. Now I've got some more space to plant some tomatoes, which we'll put 9 more of those right there. That should help us out a little bit for the time being. And now we come across over here. We've got our medical beds. I saw someone say something about they thought they saw water flowing underneath those. Well, if we peel this back, we can find out once and for all that these do not connect here. They are, you know, still kind of pooling water, but this is not a direct path through this way. There's no way for the water to escape from here to here. Can understand why you would say that, though. Now we come to our lodges in the cliffside. And some of you guys really like this. Some of you guys aren't that big of a fan, but I do like it, so I'm going to keep doing that. Had some requests for some stuff behind the lodges as we continue building things out. The contemplation spot back here, I think, was a good add. But we do have some space right here in the corner for us to put some other fun stuff. We have scratchers. We've got detailers, all this other stuff we can get into later. But in terms of decoration, we spend 150 science, get these braziers going here. And nothing says, you know, cave like a fire in the corner. So this right here will affect, if we peel this back just a couple of things, it will affect every single beaver that lives in this area because it is a 2 radius, which means even though this house isn't in the range of this, the beavers who live here will have to come through this area, which will of course grant them that perk. Now these guys going through here probably won't be in the radius unless they want to go to the contemplation spot, which is very likely something that they will do. So now we have a drought. It is 7 days. Our floodgates have slammed shut. These are shut as they have been. These are shut as they have been. There's just water on top, which may have caused some of you to think that this was having a flow issue. It's not. It's completely shut. So now all we have to do is just keep these beavers alive, make sure our water does not disappear. We have stopped the pumps. We have 569, which is technically not enough water for 51 beavers for 7 days, assuming 2 water per beaver per day. That's really only good for about 5. So we will need to pump at some point, but I will delay the pumping, and we will need to expand our storage. And that's something we can do probably pretty soon. It would be in our benefit to have a storage of water around where the beavers live. So why don't we check and see here. This tank connect to that? No, it will not, because that is not a regular entrance. That is a, what do they call those? Walkways, bridges, something like that. This space right here seems like it is begging for a 3x3, which is, of course, our large tank. Or we have our underground tank. If we had a substantial quantity of metal, which, guess what? We have 215 of that. We have not quite enough planks, but that will not be that hard for us to get. And it's 1,000 science, and it's 2,400 capacity. I think this is going to be our ticket. However, it does have a required underground depth of 3. I believe this space should be okay. Let's remember to check our coordinates. I've got 136, 134 is what we're looking at here to go down 3 layers. So that is going to be our first layer. That's going to be our second, third, fourth. We are good in that specific spot. So let's research this. Pop that right there, and that, friends, is going to be tremendous. That'll be a big, big, big help to all these beavers living here. And since it's an underground storage, it doesn't quite dominate our landscape right here. And it's going to give us some opportunities to build on top of it eventually, if we feel so inclined. We can put overhangs on top. And from this level here, I could also do that, which might actually look a little bit better. We could put some housing on top of that, maybe. But yes, that's going to be a great start. We do have this thing helping our well-being just a tiny bit. And we have other stuff as well, but I think we should probably avoid growing population too much for right now. Focus on improving infrastructure, maybe putting some food storage in here as well. And you guys, of course, have had some pretty good ideas for all of that. I would like to take advantage of our terrain here to create like a food hall kind of thing off into the side of a cliff somewhere. If we can make that work. We have, with this mod, let's just go here. Ready-to-eat foods, there are 10 entries. You got apple pies, you got apples, baked beets, berries, cornbread, grilled bell peppers, grilled corn, radishes, stuffed peppers, and tomatoes. So, you know, theoretically we could have 10 storages for food. We could focus on the most popular ones. But eventually we're going to want to have storage for absolutely everything, and there are going to be outposts all over the map if I am able to do what I want to do with this. And obviously we can't build giant storages of everything right off the bat, but what we can do with what we have access to now, warehouse-wise, we have medium warehouses that are 15 logs. Large warehouses are 60 logs and 80 planks. They hold 1,200, which is, of course, a tremendous amount of food. We also have the underground warehouses that hold 3,600. But we only have a population of 51 beavers, and we don't have to do everything full throttle all the way, you know, all the time. We can have some stuff made to look slightly nice, and I think that is something we should look into pursuing. So why don't we try something real quick? Let's just hit pause. Try to make something that looks a little bit better. If I have that set right there, then I have one here, one here, one here, one here. That is 4 things. And then if I put another one right here, that would be 5. If we did this twice, right on top of itself, that would be all 10 types of food. We would just have to figure out a way to get beavers up where they want to go. So I think what might be kind of nice if we do this again, just do one of these, come in with our platforms all the way to here, just like so. We have our staircases, which we have regular wooden stairs and we have decoration stairs. Let the dam be stepped on. I guess that's supposed to go in line with that. We can also use ladders, which are going to be the more efficient way of doing things. Doesn't necessarily have to be the only way we do things, but if I were to put this right here, it would block the entrance to that. We don't want to do that. So instead, if we are going to use ladders, which I do think is the most efficient, best way to do this, we can put 2 right there, which is going to mean that we could have beavers come in from either side. They can make their way up there. The path will automatically have railings because that is how the game decides to do things. Make sure we get that connected. So this will be all 10 types of food, which again, we cannot produce everything yet. And this won't be the only place we have food storage, but for where we are in the game now, episode 5, we don't have to wait to make stuff that's neat, and we don't have to have something forever. We can always tear it down, or we can build something else somewhere else. I think this is going to look kind of nice. So if we come over here to our decorations, we have all these roofing pieces. You got your 2x3s here. You have half roofs as well, which I think usually look pretty good. And we have this space in the back here that isn't currently occupied by anything. So what if we take this beaver statue right here that has a radius of 3, will grant every beaver that comes in here this bonus. If it's here, if we move it back 1, I know it's 500 science, but we do have science. That's not going to be an issue. You put that guy there. The beaver bust, also, every beaver that comes in here, unless they're going just to this first one, which they'll go to all of them, will also get the beaver bust. And yes, it does look a little silly having this just going into the back of the whatever, but it is going to be a tremendous bonus. Very nice boost to these guys. And I'm not sure if it's... Oh, I can. Okay, well, we're going to use those double platforms eventually, so we'll just pop that right there. And to help build this, we're probably not going to keep this ladder here, but to help build it, we'll put that there. And then we'll do our... Oh, you know what? I didn't put my wooden paths. I didn't put my wooden paths, and I said I was going to. Let's fix that before we unpause here. Appreciate your patience. We want the wooden path. Nice and balanced like that. I don't think it's going to matter what path I put on top of the platform because it's on top of a platform. But just because I said I would, very important for me to be honest, I'm going to put a wooden path on top of this. Well, wouldn't you know that? It actually shows up as a wooden path. I did not think that was going to be the case. Going to be interesting to see what happens when this when this ladder gets finished. But at any rate, they can build that. We'll do our wooden path with railings outside. I'm not planning on keeping the medical beds here. We should build a hospital-type building at some point. That was a good suggestion I did see in the comments. But this right here, early game, should be a nice thing for us. Now, let's set our food. I'm just going to go, you know, right down the line, even though I know we're not making all of this stuff yet. Just want to make sure everything is represented. Go up one more level for the rest of these. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom. Here we go for here. And there you go. That's all 10 types of food. Put this back up here, and then I do want to do these roofing pieces, but I don't know that we're going to have enough science. So while they're working on that, it probably is worth discussing how are we going to do our science production. And yes, the number cruncher cult once again has demanded that I build a number cruncher. We will have to have the science to build the number cruncher. So yes, we will research it when we have the ability to do so. In the meantime, though, we do have 6 beavers who are unemployed, and we have the ability to construct inventors that will help aid our process of getting science. So again, there's not really a great place up here to do any of this. And we're not firmly wedded to having any of this here. But I can have them just real quick. Pop those in. I will make these the lowest possible priority workplaces. And they're cheap to build, so, you know, it's not a big deal if we just build a bunch of these and have to tear them down later. Just doing our best to do what we can. So that will be an extra 5. I do have 6 beavers who are unemployed. I also only have 2 beavers in the district center. I'm going to get that back to 4. So that means that we'll have... Oh, I didn't put a path. That has to be the wooden path with the railing, because it is a dangerous area on the side of a cliff, as you guys have suggested. So that's going to work nice there. We got this going on. Making some good progress here with the big water tank. And I am going to have storages for all of the different juices. We are not making a lot of juices right now. But this right here should be pretty nice once that is taken care of. So now we have 5 days left in our drought. How's our water level looking? It's low, but it's not, you know, dangerously low. I think once we get down to maybe 2 days left in the drought, I'll turn these pumps back on. Because you know it's going to be a thing where the crops can only live so long if they don't have water. But if it's less than 2 days, it should be fine. Yeah, it's 2 days for the radishes, 3.7 for the tomatoes, 1 day for the bell peppers, 2 days for the beets, half a day for the canola, because canola, you know, just can't handle anything, half a day for the wheat, and 2 days for corn. But food-wise, for where we are now, almost 1,000 is looking pretty good. Obviously, we very much would need to have additional stuff going on. But we'll get there. Okay, still waiting on some bricks, but we do have those ready to go. Again, I do not have nighttime enabled. Until people sufficiently yell at me to turn it back on, I'm just going to leave it off. I think it is much easier for most people to follow. Had some requests to turn the fog off as well. I will not be turning that off, because the last time I did that, more people got angry that I turned it off than were happy that I had turned it off. So, that's just the way that goes with stuff like this. 4 days left in the drought. Water is getting... not precariously low, but again, right around that 2-day mark, we're probably going to have to turn those back on. We do have all of our inventors spinning around, so no wasted labor. We're just cranking out science. When we get to that 1500, I will research the number cruncher, and then we'll have to assign that its own power production, which is a very large upfront cost. I know I've complained frequently about that, but it's going to make it possible for us to do a whole lot of other stuff. And it makes you guys happy, so that's always a good situation there. Did they finish building this stuff under here? Let's find out. Looks like the answer is no, because it's too far from a district. How does that... Oh, some genius, I won't say who, some genius did not connect that. How are we looking? How are we looking up here? Okay, water's down to about 150. That means, you know, overnight it's going to basically run out. The amount of water we have probably can be pumped out in 2 days by just those 2 pumps. Is what it is. We just have to build a big old dam across this, and that will take a lot of time we probably don't want to be spending. So, in light of that, I think what's going to make more sense, especially now since our beavers are growing in population, is going to be to put in another couple of water pumps. And I have to be able to actually get behind this. You know what? It's going to be easiest to just do that. I'll build one more pump there. And then, you know, since we're basically out of water and there's only 2 days left, I don't think we're going to have any huge losses if some plants die. So let's get those undone. That's going to give us a deficit of 2 workers. But remember, we have our inventors that we can always pull people out of. So our beavers will not die of thirst. Things will be fine. They're making very nice progress over here. We just don't have all of our platforms and stuff in quite yet. So the wooden path in the corner, I'm going to have to see how this actually sets up once the letters are in place. I might have to take this out just so we can have the regular gap so it doesn't look weird. But I do very much like this wooden pathing. There is the More Paths mod, or I think it's something like that, that adds, well, additional paths of a whole bunch of types that I'm thinking about turning on. But as we saw earlier this week, mods are fun, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong when stuff gets updated and isn't quite synchronized across everything. That's why this video was delayed a day, because, well, we had an issue with the TimberApi. And again, these modders work for free. I'm never going to get mad at somebody because something doesn't work. That's just not reasonable. But it does get a little frustrating when stuff breaks. It gets fixed eventually, though, so I'm very thankful for those folks working hard to make sure that everything is still ticking right along. 1 day left in the drought. Sun is rising. We've got these 2 pumping, so the beavers should be fine. The water is getting pretty low and will most likely dry up before it has anything else coming in here. And especially when this drought is over, these are going to empty out this way because these have to go all the way down. If we can adjust that before it becomes an issue, so when the drought ends, instead of it going down to 0, if it goes down to like 1.2. And this is already set to... No, well, it's already gone anyway. I guess it ended up not mattering. Yep, canola's toast. What was the other one that was not going to be... not going to be happy about this? Well, it doesn't matter. What's going to happen is going to happen. It's fine. I have also... neglected to unmark this maple tree for cutting. That has been fixed. Things should be okay. But yeah, they can keep pumping, you know, worry-free from here because this is already dry. What does it matter if that gets pumped out? So what we might want to do is put in a dam here or something so that these pumps do not pump out all of this. Long term, the goal is to have no pumping happening here. We can have pumping happening out of this main area. Oh, we'll see what happens. This has gone down to 0 because... the synchronization, for whatever reason, is not exactly working quite right here. So I think what I will end up doing is just having this set to 1.2 no matter what. So we got clean water coming in here. We'll have clean water coming through here in a moment. See, these are, yeah, the canola's toast and the bell peppers are toast. That's all right. Here comes our clean water. Shouldn't ever be that big of a problem again. All right, I want to see these beavers go up through this ladder straight through the floor. So I guess we just kind of have to sit here and wait for someone to decide to go up a ladder. I am just so curious how this is going to work. And I can't just sit here and wait. What is the middle of the night? All right, they're going to come in here and eat. So let's take that off at triple speed. Just as soon as they come out of their little abodes there. All right, come on, don't make me a liar. All right, somebody turn right and grab something out of the, no? All right, that's fine. You do what you want. I figured they'd want to eat something. So come on, somebody go up the ladder so I can actually look and see what this looks like. Unless it says they can't reach it. No, it doesn't say that. All right, come on. You know you want to. Come on, seriously? Not one beaver. Not one beaver is going to go up the ladder. There you go. Okay, he phased through the floor. That's kind of cool, but, yeah. I'm gonna not do that. I'll just put a regular path so that they can, you know, actually do what they gotta do. And I did not think it would override not having the railing, so seeing how this is like this, I'm going to put wooden path with railing so that doesn't look too terrifying there. But yeah, proof of concept worked. Food warehouse is fine, we just need to make it look nice, which we absolutely can with these half-roof pieces. But now, we're very, very close to having our 1500 science for the number cruncher, which will need a place to go. It does not have to be near anything because it is an autonomous building. So, now I turn to the small engine producing 250 HP. I did see some folks say, well, why in the world are you doing all your smelting and stuff over here? This doesn't make any sense. Well, there's also people that the previous episode said, why are you doing all your smelting over here? It doesn't make any sense. So, you know, never going to please everybody, but I did think that only hauling the regular metal blocks to the city center would make a whole lot more sense than taking the raw materials, because this is fewer items, 3 versus 2. But now that we have, we got a pretty decent, for early game at least, we have 220 metal blocks. I don't think it would be that bad of an idea to maybe migrate this somewhere else. And because this is outlying and we don't have to worry about it, keep this small engine here and run a number cruncher, even if it's not at 100%. It takes 500 HP, but it's not going to not work if I give it 250. It's just going to be, you know, 5 science an hour instead of 10. Which, hey, I will take that. So you'll see very quickly that that's probably going to be our correct choice, even if it's not going to be popular with everybody. We could, if we wanted to, get into our regular size engine, which will produce 500 HP, but runs on charcoal. We do have charcoal here already. If we put a regular size engine in, then we could, in theory, run a number cruncher and a smelter, both at a slight disadvantage for efficiency. You unfortunately can't, with the base game at least, without doing some sort of fancy power mod, which I don't think I have installed. You can't do a priority power delivery. Maybe that's a mod I should look into, but I would really like not to have this be a billion different mods, because if any one of them goes wrong, then I cannot make a video on this series, and that ends poorly. Makes things take a whole long time, and then, you know, you're on the same series for 6 months and people get really tired of it. At any rate, we do have our 3 water pumps now. I'm going to go ahead and put in a 4th. Just so we can get slightly ahead, because we do have this big water storage that has now been finished. Let's have that set to obtain, prioritize. And that should give us a lot of room to grow. Now that our total storage is over 3,000, I know we're not really pumping that quickly, but with, you know, almost 50 beavers, you gotta be able to have enough to keep them alive. And you have to be able to store enough to last through droughts and bad tides. So, things are looking good. We've got all these food things over here that have not yet been fully stocked, and we are going to be moving some of our food production eventually when we get there. 1481 science. I need this to be at 15 so I can start building the number cruncher, even if there's not a great way to power it quite yet. But this space is so remote that we're not going to be able to do anything with it once all of this metal is gone. So this is a perfect place to put a number cruncher. Even if we just build a second engine, have it completely disconnected, I don't think that's going to matter that much. Just want to be sure that we are actually making full use of everything we've got. Alright, so I see 1491, 1493, 94, 97. There's that 1500. Alright, number cruncher research. And just because this fits really nicely right here, that's where that's going to go. We can start building it. And then eventually we can put something else onto it. These are so cheap to build, I'm not going to lose any sleep by demolishing this later. We'll just put a... we'll just put a small engine like that. We'll just flip it. Path with railings, because this is the quote-unquote dangerous area. And this will be able to run, albeit at half efficiency, but it will be running, which means we can, you know, not have to worry about the inventor huts. These are already deprioritized. So there's not really a reason to get rid of them, so long as they are the minimum priority workplace If we ever have extra beavers, they can do some extra science. At some point, we'll get rid of them, but for right now, I think we are in a good spot. Now, let's take a closer look at how this food situation is, because I've got a single farmhouse that so far seems to do pretty well. We have 1,400 food in storage. But stuff like the grilled bell peppers obviously needs to have some other stuff added to it. That is this right here. We are waiting on bell peppers. We have a full storage internally of canola oil and logs. So we need to grow more bell peppers. That's one of those things we talked a little bit about when we move this stuff around. We can redo our farm setup. Apples-wise, we have tons of apples. That's not an issue. We have our bakery that is not making apple pie, but very much could be if we were able to get wheat going, which we do not have any wheat. We have not started growing it. That's one of those reasons I wanted to have some irrigation up here, which more time that goes by seems like that's not going to be a thing that we're doing today. But we can definitely plant some more bell peppers. That will not be terribly difficult. It's just going to be kind of a weird farm setup. These guys can definitely reach it. I'm going to leave this space open in case I need a 5th water pump. But for right now, we should be okay. I do think there's some work we could maybe do trying to optimize this just a tiny bit more. In terms of radishes, that's not radishes, that's beets. Radishes should be here. We don't have a completely full storage, which makes me think I don't have enough, but almost all the beavers have eaten some. I guess that's fine. Yeah, stuffed peppers. Of the stuff we're producing, that's the only one that's really lacking, is the stuffed peppers. So for now, just focusing on getting some more bell peppers growing. I mean, they take 6 days and you get 3. We've not quite doubled by planting this, but it's enough to hopefully get us going somewhere. This slope and these paths here really don't need to exist because they can just go up here, and they do. So if I just take this out, keep that obviously. And again, I know this is really, really suboptimal pathing, but that's going to be a big help having those bell peppers there. This is all going to get redone. Don't worry about it. Now the beavers can just go up and down through these houses here. Great, great feature of the Emberpelts mod. Alright, so we got some beavers dying of old age. We're down to 46 total. But we do have a small engine ready to go here. And we've got the numbercruncher just waiting on gears, which is a good reminder to check and see. Now this is going 3 hours for a gear. We already knew that was a thing. We can just kind of leave that doing what it's doing. Don't think that needs to be a big deal quite yet. We're just a hair below the maximum power input because we have all these other things going on. This is consuming power even though it's not doing anything. I got a full thing of canola oil. I'm going to pause this press just so we can get that last bit of efficiency out of this. And everything else probably fine. I'm going to have that set to a supply. How much water do we have in this? Okay, very nice. It's just over 800. Reminder that once I get to my 500, I think it's 500 science, I'm going to get that regular generator engine. 400 science, there we go. I can use the correct numbers and the correct names of things. Not. Yeah, we'll get to sometime soon. These are all, not occupied except this one, so that could be a while. But soon enough, once we get another 26 gears, we're going to have our numbercruncher going to at least some degree, and that's going to help a whole lot. Now, this does not have any power because this does not have any logs. I guess that both of these should be prioritized by haulers, honestly. The metal here is not going to last forever either, so that's not that big of a deal that we're doing this here. It's not going to be there the entire time. Yeah, I maybe should have had a dam put in here by the time that we were out of that drought, but I figured there's more important stuff for us to look at. We already talked about the stuffed peppers being a problem, but in the next couple of days we should have more of those coming in. Yeah, it's at 69%. Those are at 30, 51, 47. Yeah, we're going to be just fine. And it will get redone so it, looks a little bit better. These I had not replanted because I was going to make these pine trees for the resin that we're going to need. So this is 84%. That's dead because of reasons. Let's plant these as pines, just so we can get those started. These do not need to be cut. These do need to be cut, so let's get those marked. I think that's in range. Yes, it is. Yeah, so they'll cut those down. We'll get those pines going. This space up here is not irrigated, but it could be, depending on how we want to do this. Let's also not forget that because of the way that we've done this, all of the remainder of the clean water is going out that way. When it would not be such a bad idea to have this just open so that this bad water can get flushed out here. That is to our benefit to have this be clean. Give us maybe a little bit more irrigation up here. So we will see. I'm not expecting this to be, crystal clear all the time, but could be a pretty important thing for us to do. Especially if this is already as full as it's going to get without other intervention. Yeah, food hovering around 1,400, 1,500. This is waiting. Oh, that hasn't gone anywhere. Okay, who is consuming gears? Let's do a quick check here. I do not see anyone consuming gears except construction, so I don't see even construction doing that. Have I made no... Oh, this isn't connected to a path, that's why. Alright, so that's the only thing is, huh. I did not think that was going to be like that. Well, it's fine. Surely this is almost done getting us some more of these. Yep, still waiting on bell peppers. What's on the ground here? Clay? Okay, that doesn't matter. That's fine. Yep, 25, 26 gears. Everything over here is looking nice, though. I am going to get the, regular size engine when we get to 400. Just a little bit behind in the beaver being live category. What a category, huh? So we will have to wait a little bit for that. Let's see, what else can I do here? Oh, what we don't have is we don't have a campfire. That is an easy thing for us to fix. Oh, I can't quite do that now, can I? Right next to this other one, maybe not the best use of space, but this will give us something for right now. The, what's the word? Rooftop terrace is something we could put right here in the center. I don't think that would be a bad thing. In fact, that would probably be the best thing we could stick right there, depending on how we wanted to do this. I don't think that is a bad idea at all. If I did this... Ooh, you know what? You know what? Let's have a little bit of fun with this. Let's do that there. That there. Let's give us our wooden path with railings. Not here, because I'm going to have this here and here. This ends up being the wooden path with railings there and there. We'll do a regular path with railings there and there, because that's going to allow us to have a rooftop terrace here and here. And then we can do our different roofing pieces all the way over here with our 2x3s. Or we could have a slightly different setup like this and like this. We have our half roof pieces here. We could do one of those kind of numbers, depending on how we wanted to do this. You know what? It might not look that bad, honestly. Just to do one of these things. I'll see, this costs the same amount of materials, but it's so cheap it doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to think what the best looking way to do this might be. Well, I'm not going to spin the science right now, but I think that wouldn't be the worst thing ever. Alright. How close are we? 90. Nice. Very good. That means that I don't have to have this here. I know it's like, you built it, why did you get rid of it? Well, there's something better. You can throw away the nasty or the slightly less convenient and do something that makes a little bit more sense. I guess I could just do that. I know it was all set to have power, and then I ripped it out just to put this in. Oh no, you need 25. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Be 500 science. It's going to get us everything we need, and then we can just keep building these everywhere else. So those guys will take that nicely there. Food's up to 1,700, by the way. If we take a look at our stuffed peppers, it's still kind of low. But now that we have all of these here, they just can't harvest this fast enough. We need a second farmhouse, which we will need to find a place to put that. I could put them on some stilts out here. Not my favorite thing ever, but it's probably going to be to our benefit to do that. So if I just did one of those, put that right there, they'll be able to access most of this, and that is going to be good for us to have additional beavers here. Pretty simple for them to build. 9 out of 25 gears, can't really complain too much. We do have our campfires and our rooftop terraces, so our well-being should be going up, and it looks like it is. That's all well and good. I just need to get some more science, and I know we're not researching science because I'm kind of spreading my beavers thin just a little bit. But we do have 10 of the hauling post. We probably don't need 10. Let's bump this down to 7 for right now. Get a couple more of these jobs filled in. And it's going to be time pretty soon for us to expand our housing, which we can easily do. Just go, yeah, there's that 24. We can easily expand down to here. I suppose I will pop that in. That's actually not connected if I do it that way. The corner thing is not quite done. Yeah, if I put this here, that can still connect. And then that, if I have this way, will still connect. I'll flip that way. Alright, so that's going to give me an extra 6 beds. We have another drought coming in 3 days, in case you missed that notification. So this is going to be an opportunity for us to put another one of these things. Yeah, maybe right on top of this would be a good way to do it. Not the worst thing we could possibly come up with. Alright, so they'll get those beds filled in due time. How are we looking over here? Alright, 4 more gears. They're not going to have that done before the end of the day. Try as they might. We got 23. Okay, we might have a couple coming over here to deliver some. Yep, that's 24, but they're going to go to bed. What's this one got? Look at you. Look at you. It's the middle of the night and you're still doing your job. It's okay to go home and go to sleep. That's always allowed. They'll come in the morning and finish this up, and then we will have numbers to crunch. Overall, I think we can be pretty pleased with the process and the progress that we've made today. Coming up on an hour already, so we'll put this one to bed here probably at the start of this drought. But I would like to have a little bit more stuff placed here so it doesn't look quite so sparse. Alright, so this is done. That prioritized by haulers. There we go! Numbercruncher is crunching the numbers. And it is at full speed. Yeah, you see that? Every hour we get 10 science, which means that soon we will have the science to unlock all of our different roofing pieces. I do like this this 2x2 here. I think that's going to look pretty neat. You might disagree, and that is fine. That is always allowed. Kind of a neat little windbreak kind of design there. And then on this piece here, we could either do something like that, or I could do one of these kind of numbers, or I could do the same exact thing like this, or I could have this come out that way. But I think going this way is going to make more sense. It does look pretty interesting. And then I just have this extra space at the front that I could do one of these numbers with. Wouldn't look bad. yeah, so we'll build that. We'll call that good enough. And, you know, I think this is where our episode can go ahead and end here. I know it's not a super long one, but, well, by my usual standards with the water beaver sometimes being an hour and a half. But I do appreciate you guys watching these. This is so much fun to play this faction and do all this fun stuff with all these different processes, different aesthetics, and things we don't normally do in our other playthroughs. So, again, I really appreciate that. Beard Boosters, you already know. Everybody else, those are the folks that do the contributions to the channel to make it so I don't have to take on sponsors for this. We can just focus on having fun playing the games and not being beholden as much to the algorithm as some other stuff requires. So I'm always going to be thankful for those folks making it possible for me to do what I want to do and not pollute things more than necessary. But that is going to be the end of this one as we come up on our drought. It is 6 days. So we'll let these beavers get to work on that in the next episode, and I will see you then. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.